So a couple shocking developments in the Carmelo Anthony case. Two stories that, in my opinion, have to have been intentionally covered up because I'm only hearing about them right now, and they have to do with a history of violence in the Carmelo Anthony side. You know, like I would call it extraordinarily relevant if a kid who stabbed a guy to death had previously been reprimanded for bringing a knife to school. As an example. Seems like a pretty big story, right? Or if people from his school are coming forward and saying he's a very violent kid who used to attack people. Also, extraordinarily relevant, okay? So we're going to talk about that right there. And we're going to start, though, with a totally unrelated story, except for the fact that you're going to be just absolutely blindsided with how insane some of these people are. Look at this, okay? This is a real story. Okay, California lawmakers to block effort to make it a felony to buy 16 and 17-year-olds for you know what. Okay, so we're going to go into this story first, and then we're going to get to the Carmelo Anthony one because this one is, it's the same kind of thing, right? Why are they doing this? Okay, like why are you trying to, like what possible excuse could you have for not putting out information related to a history of violence in the case of someone who murdered a kid, right? And also, what possible reason could you have for blocking this bill if you are the California Democrats, right? So we're going to be fair to them. We're going to read this. We're going to listen to them, and then we're going to talk about it, okay? So let's start right here and buckle up because, of course, in California, it's about equity, whether or not we're going to make it a felony to purchase the bodies of minors. You know, of course, because of course, right? Let's rock.
Introduced by a Republican last year to crack down on the consumers of the child sex trafficking industry. Before last year, it was a misdemeanor in California to purchase a child for sex. With the passage of last year's law, it's now a felony to purchase anyone 15 years old and younger. But now, after a fight over all of this last year, Democratic Sacramento Assemblymember Maggie Krell is trying to include 16 and 17-year-olds in that solid felony charge. Even though lawmakers want this changed, we're hearing the reason why it's not is because some Democrats are trying to honor a closed-door deal on this whole issue that was made last year.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. So let's just make sure that we are all on the same page here, okay? So they could all agree that 15-year-olds and under being trafficked is a felony. But when we get to 16 and 17-year-olds, I mean, come on, guys. We had a closed-door deal that we made with some people, all right? Don't try to press us on it on what are the details of that? I mean, listen, it's a closed-door deal for a reason, right? It definitely has nothing to do with that. That was going to be a bad joke. That might not be a joke at all. Now, if I told you that you could make $50 for free if you take 90 seconds of your time to do something, it's something that you would do, especially if the 90 seconds is going to be something fun. Because that's exactly what PrizePicks and I are offering you right now. I want to be very clear. There is no gimmick here. There's no chance where this does not lead to $50 free for you. There's nothing you have to pick right. There's no game you have to win. If you play a $5 roster on PrizePicks, you will get $50 into your account whether you win or lose the roster that you entered. How much you can win in addition to the automatic $50 depends on the size of the roster that you pick, but I'll let you play around with that a little bit. Now, you also could try to win real big and play more than $5, but you don't have to. Take a look over here. Look at what I stand to win if I hit this roster. Hold me accountable to this. I'm putting it on my channel. I'm putting my face on it. Hold me accountable and also hold me accountable to this. This game is super fun. You're going to want to play. As you can see on the left side of the screen, all you do is go through the athletes that you want to pick in a specific sport. In this case, we're doing UFC because my girl Rose Namajunas is fighting on Saturday. In addition to MMA, they have college basketball, college football, NBA, NFL, any sport you could think of, you can play on PrizePicks. Now, in the roster you see over here, this is obviously a UFC roster. I'm playing a $5 game, which means if this was my first game, I would see a free $50 put into my account the second that the game starts. So come join me for PrizePicks. It's an amazing game. You'll be supporting my channel and you'll be getting free money. Also, look at my roster, take a screenshot, and then you can see how I did. And also, I want to know who you guys are picking. Send me your rosters if you want. Link is in the description. Use promo code JesseOnFire for the $50 bonus, and that is what it is. You know what I mean? So let's continue and listen to, I'm sure, a super compelling argument for why they would not want to make it a felony to traffic 16 and 17-year-olds.
I was told that it was pulled, and the only way I could get it back on the agenda is if parts of the bill bill would be blocked.
Former California Department of Justice prosecutor and now Democratic Assembly member Maggie Krell disappointed by what's happened to her bill. The Assembly Public Safety Committee will not move forward with her proposal that would make it a felony to purchase a 16 or 17-year-old for sex.
Did you expect this? Are you surprised by this, just being a new member in this building?
I think it's a disgrace.
It's evil.
Republican State Senator Shannon Grove, who originally pitched the concept last year, says the Assembly is now trying to honor a closed-door deal between her and the state Senate from last year. That deal allowed what's now state law to move forward. Last year, lawmakers made it a felony to purchase a child 15 years old and younger for sex, while allowing the purchase of 16 and 17-year-olds to be either a misdemeanor or felony. Grove says it was more of an ultimatum.
It was either move forward with 15 and below or get nothing.
Why on earth would you be protecting people who are purchasing 16 and 17-year-olds? What possible reason could you have to defend that? Like, the people who are doing this should have to answer for that. What possible reason could you have for that?
And so the issue of protecting the 16 and 17-year-olds that we put forward in the bill, because everyone knows, if you asked anybody in California, they should be included in those protections against sex trafficking minors. They are minors. They're considered minors under any other circumstance. For it to come from the Senate just because they said so is completely evil. Just evil.
My perspective as chair is that there was a carefully negotiated deal last year.
New Assembly Public Safety Committee Chairman Nick Schultz is the one who ultimately made this latest decision.
The negotiation or the deal that I guess was struck between senators and Senator Grove last year to move her bill with the 15 years old and under forward, I mean, do you think like the regular average California voter, taxpayer, or even victim of this crime, like that would mean anything to them?
Here's what I think. I think the average taxpayer expects to be kept safe in the state of California. They also expect a justice system that is fair and equitable. That's what we try to do at the Public Safety Committee.
Fair and equitable, dude. Fair and equitable. Equitable to who? People who want to purchase minors to abuse their bodies? Right? Hey, listen, we don't want to be too harsh on these guys who bought 16-year-olds, to abuse them. Let's be real. That's a misdemeanor most of the time. What are you talking about, dude? What on earth are you talking about? Let's let this guy finish, and I'm sure he's going to have a really compelling reason for why they're blocking this deal.
I think whether you're talking about Senate Bill 1414 last year or Assembly Bill 379 this year, the reality is most people are not watching the day-to-day developments of these bills.
I've been doing this for 20 years.
That's why, yeah. Hey, because there's nothing slimy about that. Hey, why don't you name a couple numbered bills so that no one knows what you're talking about, and then dodge the question of, do you think that California voters and taxpayers would want to see it to be a felony if people traffic minors without any exceptions? It's unreal, dude.
And I'm not going to quit now. And I am going to bring this part of this bill back every year until I get the votes to protect children. That's what I'm going to do.
So Assemblyman Nick Schultz said later this fall he wants to hold informational hearings to go deeper on the 16 and 17-year-olds issue and come back in January with a new proposal.
Okay, so pass the buck, right? The oldest trick in the book, bureaucracy. Pretend that you've got some kind of plan so that you don't have to change anything when your goal is to not change anything.
So we should note there have been several hearings and discussions on this issue from last year, again, when the idea was originally pitched. And Assemblymember Krell has said over and over again that the point of this is to make it so that the laws are consistent for traffickers and buyers, because those harsher penalties apply to traffickers who traffic children 18 and under. Right. And therefore, the law, she says, should apply to buyers, too, for that reason.
And so many other laws that apply to minors just in general. So there are other parts of Assemblymember Krell. Okay,
here's the deal. Here is the only quarter that I will give him on this issue. I'll give him one. Only one. Okay? If you are making the penalties for that, like the mandatory minimum penalties for trafficking children who are under 16, absolutely draconian for people who are the buyers. I'm talking like decades in prison, okay? If that's what you're doing, I will acknowledge that it would be unreasonable to give someone 20 years if they did not know that the 17-year-old was a minor, okay? They should still go to prison, all right? So if that's what he's saying, if he could talk like a regular person and just be like, look, okay, a person who traffics someone, like that's different. But if a buyer is just a John who's trying to, buy a hooker, he has no idea that she's 17 years old, giving them a 20-year sentence is unreasonable. I would be like, all right, I could see that. Like, what's he supposed to do? Like, because it's not like, if you get caught up in a sting, it's not like they're going to go in there, check the ID. They don't even they're not going to have the opportunity to like interact with them either. They're going to walk in, they're going to get busted. They're not going to hook up with the person. They're going to be soliciting. They're going to get caught. They're going to get caught in a sting, whatever. Maybe they didn't know, right? So I could see how that is the one carve out that I would give them. It's still a crime, but giving them 20 years. And again, I don't even know if they're really giving them 20 years. Now, if you explain that to a smart person, they go, all right. Like you'd have to at least acknowledge, like if they had no idea, the girl who's 16 or 17 looks much older. They didn't know. Giving them a 20-year sentence would be ludicrous. Sure, I guess, But that's only if they are being ridiculously draconian with what they are sentencing people to for the 15 and under, which I support. But I doubt that's what it is, honestly. I just think these guys are twisted and don't care. And they're like, listen, our friends like to buy these 17-year-olds.
Bill that are going to move forward. What should we be looking for there?
Right. Yeah. The hearing tomorrow will still allow parts of AB 379 to continue. Those parts include reinstating penalties for those who loiter for prostitution with the intent to purchase anyone. Those convicted would have to pay up to a $1,000 fine, and that money would then go into a fund for survivors. But again, those hearings later this fall.
Wow, that's pretty draconian, guys. I mean, listen, a person who's driving around like, hey, can I have a date with a bunch of streetwalkers? Like, whatever. I don't care about that. As long as they're not kids, That's just very disappointing, man. Very disappointing. All right, so let's move over to the Carmelo Anthony side of this case. And let's look at this, all right? So you guys tell me, were you guys aware of this little tidbit of information? Okay. CBS Texas has learned from law enforcement sources involved in the investigation that 17-year-old Carmelo Anthony, the suspect in the murder of 17-year-old Mossman, had previously been suspended for bringing a knife to school. How did I not ever hear about that? Law enforcement sources tell us the 17-year-old Carmelo Anthony should have been in class at Centennial High School and was skipping school yesterday when he allegedly stabbed Austin Metcalf following an altercation. We have not received a response from the Frisco ISD to that information. So, how do we not know about that? How on earth is that not front page news? Previously suspended for bringing a deadly weapon to school and then had a deadly weapon at the track meet and then used it to kill this kid? I wonder what other things we're not hearing about. Like, as an example, this little tidbit right here.
One girl that we spoke with knew Anthony pretty well, that she says, and told us this.
I'm in shock because it's like, I wouldn't expect that from him. I only know him fighting and stuff, but to take someone's life is just like a different level.
I only know him like fighting and stuff, and like taking a person's life is like a different level. Say what, girl? I'm sorry, did you say known for fighting and stuff? So, just so we're clear, okay, what have I been saying all along about this case? The kid's going down, okay? This kid is going to prison. He is going to go down. And let's just take a look at the culmination of the case thus far right after I show you one other thing, okay? Let me show you the gems that are still giving to this particular Give, Send, Go. So this is his Give, Send, Go. And I wanted to show you guys something. So here, let's look at this. So here you go. Honestly, if Carmelo stabbed Austin for no reason at all, I'd still donate and support. Whites have gotten away with killing us for hundreds of years. I could care less about white lives. Nice, dude. That's great. That's just, I don't know. That makes me feel good. All good on the inside. It really, really makes me feel like I definitely don't want to, White American males are by far the most inferior victimhood race of people I've ever seen. I really wish people could get rid of these bed wenches, blackmail cucks for white like Charleston White, who's a degenerate, and anyone who think they can just attack black boys. I joined a militia and been training self-defense since I seen those cowards attack Melo. I'll be in Dallas ready, coward. LMFAO, weak white supremacist, you're so big and bad. Let us see your name. You're only brave on the internet. When there's a group, you couldn't fight us straight up. You need a gun. Why you anonymous? My name is Kimmy Kennedy. Pull the F up. T, come find me. You ain't gonna do shit. Keyboard warrior, thanks for the donations. Inbred simpletons. What are you talking about? Okay. Look, hey, white supremacists are nothing more than a bunch of unattractive, undesirable little pecker complex. Like, what is this crap, man? Okay, anyway, so that's what's going on over there. But let's talk about the culmination of the evidence in this case now, okay? So you have a tent, which is clearly, I've now found out, clearly shown to be the tent of the school that Austin Metcalf went to, okay? They go over to kid who does not go there, and they're like, hey, man, this is our tent. You got to go. Kid bucks up, right? And immediately says, touch me and see what happens, right? He bowed up because he's been getting in fights at school, so he's tough, right? Austin touches him, stabs him, and goes right in the heart, and Austin dies in his brother's arms, twin brother's arms. Cool. So the guy runs away, ditches the knife, comes back, admits to killing him, asks the police officer whether or not he could be considered self-defense. Right after he says, is the kid going to be okay? Media, of course, runs a story and acts as if him asking if he's going to be okay indicates that he cares so much about whether or not the guy was okay, as opposed to being really concerned about going to prison for life, right? And then we find out that he previously had been suspended from school for bringing a knife to school, and he also was well known for getting into fights at his school, like so well known that the girl that gets interviewed just come out with it like that. And somehow the media did not make that part of the story, right? Like that's on video. That's on video, right? The interview is on video. He was known for getting in fights and being violent at school, okay? How on earth is that not part of the mainstream narrative related to this case? How is that not in every single article that covers this case? Okay? There are videos of the incident. Where are all the witnesses? Okay? Why are the witnesses not doing interviews? Why is there a moratorium on anything that is going to paint this story the way that it seems to be exactly what it is? I don't understand it. It's pissing me off, but especially the part about like he was violent and had been suspended for bringing a knife to school. How do we not already know that? Anyway, that's what I got. Love you guys. Bye-bye.